We have a very special guest tonight. Guys, I come to you and talk to you all the time about financial planning. And here we are. We have a young Let's Win financial community member here who has just joined the community just less than a month ago. But her story is very inspiring, and she has been sending me a lot of information that's been inspiring me. Actually, guys, if you guys don't realize or not, you guys do inspire me from your particular stories in itself here. So tonight is a little bit different, and this is something that we're going to be doing a little bit different in 2025 this year, as far as sharing different stories, sharing different testimonies, different community members of what you're doing from a financial state. And so I am just excited to have this young individual here tonight that's joining us here. She's on here, and I just want to introduce her really quick. She is a young. I don't want to tell her age, right? I learned this here on the Family Feud show, right? If you guys don't know, I was on Family Feud, and I was on Steve Harvey, very first show on Family Feud. Steve Harvey's been on Family Feud for a long time, and we did this back in 2009 with my family here. Steve Harvey walked out, and his very first show we was on. And one of the questions that was asked while we was on the three shows with Family Feud was, "What's a question that you don't ask a lady?" And so, ladies, I would just say this right here in financial planning. When I do speak to you, right, I don't necessarily like to ask your age, but it's important when we talk about financial planning. And generally, I like to say, "Well, when did you graduate high school?" And then me as a numbers guy, I normally add the numbers in itself here, right? So I'm excited to bring in this young lady here. She's under 25. She's a registered nurse here in South Florida. And so she came here to me to the Let's Win financial community with a mindset to change her financial state. And I just realized there was something different about this young lady. And every time I've spoken to her, I realized that she was very intentional about changing her financial state here. So I want to go ahead and invite, her name is Kimberly Como tonight. So Kim, if you don't mind, just turn on your camera, just showing the Let's Win financial community, just for your face, just for a few minutes. She's in the car here with her mom.
Hi
And
guys,
so hey Kim, how you doing tonight?
good and yourself?
I am doing certain well. Kim, first of all, let me just thank you for coming to the Let's Win financial community. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
You're
I'm
doing
doing
pretty
pretty good.
good. Awesome. So can you tell the Let's Win financial community a little bit about yourself, as far as you a registered nurse, correct?
Yes,
All right. And where did you go to school?
I went to school at Barry University.
You went to Barry University. So for context, that's a school down here in South Florida, correct?
Correct.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. So, Kim, what for 2025, what made you start changing as far as your mindset around money?
I was tired of after 3 days after I got paid, I really didn't have any more money. And then I'm living off of my credit card. And I'm like, that's not a way to live life. So I was like, I have to make some type of changes in my life to be better. And I couldn't do it alone because when I tried doing it alone, it got even worse. So I said, I need to find some help.
And Kim, one of the special things about you, right? You were referred to another member from the Let's Win financial community over to this community, right?
Yes.
So Kim, here's one of the things that I really remember about you, right? Let's talk about your spending habits a little bit. How was your spending?
So whenever I'm bored, I like to shop. Whenever I'm hungry, I just go on Uber Eats. It's very convenient. You just open the app and you just shop and you buy your food and then that's it. My spending habits are not the best. I buy off impulse. If I like it, I get it. If I want it, I buy it. I don't really think. So I was like, ugh, I have a horrible spending habit. I never looked at my budget. I didn't really look at my bank statements to know if I was going over budget or under budget. I didn't really pay attention to any of that.
Right. And so, Kim, you, like many people in the Less Win financial community, right? They have the same financial habits, right? When you get bored, you spend money on going out to eat, Uber Eats, things of that nature, right? Um,
I asked
so
him, but I didn't hear. I
I'm
texted.
sorry. Let me just do this right here, Kim. I'm gonna ask Kim. I just muted everybody, Kim. So if you don't mind, just turn your camera, your audio back on. Uh, So in that regard, Kim, right? So what made you get to the point to say, okay, look, we realized when you got bored, you would spend. And so when did you come to the fact to say, you know what, something has to change?
Probably like after Thanksgiving time, because I was like, I'm never gonna achieve any of my goals. I've realized that the goals that I set last year, I wasn't able to achieve. And I'm like, I have to achieve my goals that I set for myself this year. So I said, okay, Christmas is coming. I wasn't going to buy any Christmas gifts, but I messed up and I brought Christmas gifts. And I said, no, you have to do better. You can't keep doing the same thing because then you're never going to reach what you want to do. And you're
Right.
just going to be in the same hole over and over and over again, just chasing yourself in circles.
Right. So Kim, what we like to call that is the rat race, right? Most people continue to be on the rat race, right? Go work a 9 to 5, go home, be comfortable, and then wait on that particular paycheck without really necessarily making any changes in itself here, right? And so for you, you went to school, you got a good education, you got a good paying job as a registered nurse. And so at the end of the day, Kim, if you think about it, right, we kind of talked about your spending habits, right? And I've been
Mhm.
talking a lot about this with no spend Monday. And so, guys, Kim has been a great example of no spend Monday. So, Kim, what has your weekends been like for the last 2 weeks on no spend Monday?
So the last 2 weekends, I actually went to Publix and I went to Walmart. I filled up my fridge with the foods. Well, I filled up the fridge with the foods that I like, but I forgot to take into consideration with everyone else in the house. So this week, I took into consideration with everyone else likes to eat, and I filled up the fridge again with what we all would like to eat. It's been pretty fun going to the grocery store and actually like buying food and making it yourself rather than spending the money, getting upset because the order came incorrect. So I actually enjoy buying the no spend Monday. It actually puts a limit on me and it reminds me you can't spend money, even though I'm determined not to spend it. But the other day I was like, I really want Uber Eats. But I was like, no, you can't do it, Kim. You can't do it. You have to be disciplined and, not spend money on unnecessary things.
Right, right. So, Kim, what was life like before no spend Monday? Like, tell us a little bit about more about Uber Eats and your relationship with Uber Eats.
Uber Eats, I love Uber Eats. I would buy, so for example, if I'm at work, I'd buy Uber Eats and that's like $30. And sometimes if I'm extra hungry, I'll buy another plate of Uber Eats, that's another $30. So I would spend probably like 6 days out of the week I'd buy Uber Eats. So I really wasn't cooking. Um and even though there was food at home sometimes, I really didn't want the food. So I just spend my money on Uber Eats. And when I was doing the math, with when we did the meeting, I was doing the math, I was like, wow, I never realized I was giving Uber Eats all of this money. It was just basically like a waste of money that I was giving towards Uber Eats.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Kim, with that, right? We figured out as far as your spending habits with Uber Eats, and we realized, okay, look, there was some debt, right? Well, like with many of people are credit card debt, right? It's not a bad thing. Your credit card debt wasn't too bad, but it's as we put a debt management plan in place. But Kim was at an aspect where she was spending money on Uber Eats several times a week. And I say, Kim, the amount of money that you spend on Uber Eats, we could change that trajectory around. And if you go grocery shopping and save some of that money, then that money that you're spending on Uber Eats, now we can go and use some of the extra money that you're already paying on your credit card debt and pay it off a little bit faster. So, Kim, check this out. So, we met this week, and on our debt management plan, we saw that you could have your debts paid off and you guys know this in the Let's Win Financial Community. One thing that I like to say is next. So we found out when we went into what we call the undebt IT, we found out, Kim, that you can have your debts paid off by next year in itself, right? If you stick to the plan. All right. Now, Kim, tell us about your credit card debt, right? And your credit cards. You told me this week, and I felt like this was profound. Tell us that story when you was at the gym this week, right? And what did you do with your credit cards?
So this week I went to the gym because I noticed that whenever I'm at home and I'm off and I have nothing to do, I go shopping. So I said I have to be more productive and I got a gym membership. And I was trying to buy socks because you needed some grip socks for the class. So I don't know what happened with my debit card. Something happened and the lady said your card is declined. So I instinct, whenever something goes wrong with my debit card, I always pull out my credit card to pay. So I was like, I can't pay with my credit card. So I froze both of my credit cards and I actually had cash. So I paid with cash instead.
Wow. So are you guys hearing this here? What Kim just mentioned is she's actually frozen her credit cards. When Kim told me that story, I said, wow, man, this is amazing in itself because it's very hard to freeze your credit cards because at the end of the day, when we don't have any money, we default to our credit cards. So Kim, by you freezing your credit cards here, right? What is that going to do to you, right? That's going to put you in some type of discipline, right?
It's actually going to force me to stick to my budget. Ironically, I kind of went over my budget this week, so I had to cancel a couple of my plans that I made for the weekend. So I'm home and I'm going to be saving money. So I'm forced to stick to my budget when I
So
towards my credit cards.
So, Kim, what we like to say in that regard, right? You sticking to your budget, right? And so for 2025, as we're into January, we like to say when you want different, right? Because in November, you realize that things had to change. So we realize when you want different, you start moving different. So you cancel or you froze those credit cards. How easy was that to freeze the credit cards? What did you do?
It was easy. I mean, it took me a minute to figure out how to mess around with it online, but at first I was nervous, but then I'm like, you know what, Kim, if you want something different, you got to just do it and don't look back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you was able to call your credit card companies, right?
Mhm.
And did you just call them and what do you tell them?
Well, one of them was the Wells Fargo app is pretty easy to use. It was 123, but for my other card, I actually went on Chat GPT to figure out how to turn it off. I was like, I don't want to talk to anyone on the phone, so I went on Chat GPT to turn it off.
Now, Kim, here's the most important thing, right? So you didn't necessarily close the cards, you just froze it. So you can always go unfreeze it and use it if you want to, right?
Correct.
Okay, good, good, good in itself. All right. So with that regard, though, Kim, now you put yourself on a budget, you stick to the plan, you got to use within your checking account, right? Now,
Mhm.
do you have any trips or anything upcoming that's going to prevent you from using those credit cards?
I mean, my birthday's coming up, but now I just have to plan smarter for my birthday. I have to actually think about, is it really a want or is it more of a necessity?
Wow, Kim, you said the right word, right? We got to identify our wants and our needs in itself, right? So by you being a registered nurse, right, you also have what we call a 403B plan because a 403B plan is like a 401k, but you work for a nonprofit. So you work at a hospital, and we thank you for your service. And so, Kim, you are a very intelligent young lady with a very great career and you have a life full ahead of you, right? So tell us a little bit. I believe you had a Primerica account and you had a Vanguard account, right?
Hmm.
Right. And so some of the things that Kim and I was able to do was, as you guys know, if you work with me, we always like to have everything orderly. So Kim, what we did was we took Kim Primerica. Kim, you had a Roth IRA account through Primerica. Kim
Correct.
also had a Roth IRA account through Vanguard. And so what we was able to do is consolidate that all into Fidelity in itself here. All right. Now, Kim, how long, we don't want to tell your age, right? But how long has it been since you graduated high school?
8 years.
It's been 8 years in itself, right? How long did it take you to, do you have a master's degree?
No, I have a bachelor's.
You have a bachelor's degree. How long did it take you to get your bachelor's degree?
4 years.
4 years. All right, 4 years. So what's important here with Kim as a summary here, Kim was at a point where she was spending a lot of money eating out. And so, Kim, when you're at Publix on Sundays and you think about no spend money, right? Has there been any times where you, the last 2 weeks, where you did not want to go to Publix?
Sunday, I was like, wow. I was at, no, what was it, Saturday? I was at work and I was like, oh my gosh, Chipotle sounds really good today. No, PF Chang sounds better today. Oh no, I would like Cheesecake Factory. I fought with myself the whole entire time and I was like, Kim, you can't fight. You have to just stick to the plan and get the food at home. It's better. It's cheaper. You paid for it already.
Right. So Kim, that food that you been buying on the weekends, right? So have you been taking your lunch to work and not ordering Uber Eats, or have you still been ordering maybe Uber Eats maybe one day a week or maybe twice a week and then bringing your lunch to work? What's that been like since you've been buying groceries on the weekends?
So when we first spoke, you told me to limit Uber Eats, and I was like, limit equals eliminate to me. So I haven't
Wait,
brought
wait, 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 wait. That's a word. That's a word. That's a word. Repeat that again.
limit means equals eliminate to me.
Ooh,
So I
ooh. Limit means elimination. I like that. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I want to make sure the community caught that.
so I eliminated Uber Eats and I actually bring my food from home and I eat it at work.
And so, Kim, think about it. You're a nurse, right? So you're carrying on many people throughout the day. How does that work when you go on lunch, right? So you bring your lunch, you pack your lunch in the morning, you pack it at night.
I should pack it at night to save more time, but pack it in the morning.
Got it. And so, Kim, how was that before you started packing your lunch, right? What would you do? Like, how easy was it to order Uber Eats?
Oh, it's simple. You just go on the app and you just buy whatever you want and then you just wait for it to come and then you just
And so they would deliver it to your job. So that was very convenient, right?
very convenient.
Right. Until you look at the end of the month and you realize how many times that you ordered Uber Eats and how much money that you paid, right?
Mhm.
Now, how long does it take you now between caring for patients to go to maybe to the lunchroom and warm up your dinner?
Less than a minute.
Less than a minute. What's the feeling on that when you feel like you're in that lunchroom and you feel like you didn't spend money on Uber Eats? What's that feeling like?
It's the best feeling ever not to spend money on the Uber Eats. Because then you wait and then the food is all incorrect. It's the best feeling ever not to spend money on Uber Eats.
Got it, got it, got it. So Kim, that's very great to hear, right? Because a
Mhm.
lot of people spend money on Uber Eats or whether it's Chipotle, whether it's Chick-fil-A. Has this been any impact on your particular family this week or the last 2 weeks with not ordering Uber Eats? Because I believe you mentioned that you've been ordering Uber Eats for your family as well, right?
I kind of got everyone. I poisoned everyone in the house, for lack of better words, to getting Uber Eats with me. So sometimes the other day, my dad was saying, "Well, I'm hungry. Can you just order us something to eat off of Uber Eats?" And I said, "No, we can't have Uber Eats. You have to make us something to eat, or just make something to eat."
Right. So, Kim, not only are you changing your lifestyle, but you're actually changing your family lifestyle based on they really kind of been dependent on maybe like eating out. They didn't want to necessarily cook, right? Because the hard part about it is, right, it's convenient when you can go on Uber Eats or you can go to the store and spend money. And Kim, you could turn your camera off because you've been on a while. I realize that you're driving. And you don't have to, but you know, if you're to the point now, if you don't, if I realize that you're in the car, and we really appreciate you for bringing your experience and your testimony tonight. But Kim, we talked about this here, right? You're a young female with a great career, making great money, and you have a full life ahead of you, right? So you're making some dramatic changes here in 2025 as far as your spending habits. And oftentimes when we think about financial planning, we think about, we want more, but we spend more money than we actually make, right? And so there is a meme out there with Shaq and what's the gymnastic girl, the black girl that the gymnastics she was on the floor and she won all those gold medals. She's a very very short young
Simone
female.
Biles.
Simone Biles, right? So there's a meme out there, right? I'm gonna post this tomorrow on our Let's Win Financial social media pages, right? You have Simone Biles, right? She's this short, and you have Shaq this high, right? So
Mhm.
Shaq represents what we do, what we spend on our money each month, and Simone Biles represents the income that we make. So if you got Shaq representing this high and this tall, and you got Simone Biles for the amount of money that we make, and you think about it, right? We normally spend more money than we make. And that's very, very critical because we can't get ahead if we're spending more money than we make. All right. So, Kim, I appreciate you for coming on tonight and giving the Let's Win Financial community your testimony. And so, do you have any final words that you would like to say as far as initially starting out 2025, your feelings, emotions when it comes to your financial planning so far?
So don't be afraid of the change. Change is hard, but sometimes change can be good. So embrace the good change, even though it's difficult. Oh no, I forgot what I was gonna say. Uh oh.
No worries. No worries. So Kim, that's very, very important, right? Embracing the change, right? Because we know that if you continue to keep doing the same thing that you did in 2024, right, you're gonna get the same results that you had in 2025. But you're seeing the changes that you're making as far as your spending habits alone. That's going to be able to give you more money on a monthly basis. That's going to give you more money to pay down the debts. That's going to give you more money, put more money in your savings account. And at the end of the day, Kim, it's a sacrifice, right? You're going to be able to make the sacrifice, and then you're going to be able to do what you want to do later, right? You're going to be
Mhm.
able to go on them trips like you want to go. You're going to be able to buy the house like you want, right? You're going to be able to do all the things that you want to do and what everybody want to do, but everybody want to do what they want to do now, and they don't have it, and they put it on a credit card, which puts them further behind. Um, and so that's good in itself here. So Kim, what would you say if you have some friends around you, if you have some family members around you, as far as these last couple weeks and what you've been doing to buy groceries instead of spending money, what would you share with your family?
Just do it. Just do whatever it is to get you out of your hole that you're stuck in. Just do it and don't look back. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna fight a lot with yourself. It's gonna be internal battles, but you gotta do it if you see the goal ahead.
And so Kim, when you went and grocery shop this week at Publix, right? Did you spend any money eating out this week?
No.
You ate out. You brought your food every day to work this week?
And breakfast too.
Wow, Kim, that in itself speaks volume because it's easy to say I'm gonna buy groceries and then maybe one day a week I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do that Uber Eats. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna eat, but you didn't necessarily do that. You went and you've been fixing that food at your particular job. So have you on no spend money, right? On no spend money. How is that feeling for you? As far as do you feel the urge to want to spend some money?
You had set the text and you were like, no unnecessary spending. And I was like, oh, I have to click the X on my cart now. I was
Yeah,
shopping. So I had to click
yeah.
the X.
Yeah. Kim, we had another member in the Less Win financial community. I saw him on our WhatsApp group. He said he was going over to Dunkin' Donuts on Monday to get him some coffee, and he realized it was no spend Monday, so he had to turn around, right? And so for me, reason why we do no spend Monday on particular on Mondays because it's the first day of the week and it sets the tone for the week. And so if you can set that tone in your mindset for the week to not spend any money, the goal is not to overspend on Tuesday because you didn't spend on Monday, but to set the trajectory and set the tone for the week. And then we could do that and we could change that habit and take it into 2025. Man, guys, we can go a very, very long ways in itself here. So, hey, Kim, you can turn off your
Oh,
video. If you can still stay on your video if you want. But I appreciate you for coming to the Let's Win financial community and sharing your story. Kim, we're going to do some big things here in 2025. And I'm going to share that with the Let's Win financial community, right? By you being under 25 and showing you because you're very young and you got a life ahead of you, a lot of life ahead of you, right? I'm gonna show the Let's Win financial community, right? By you being disciplined and by you making the sacrifices you making now, I'm gonna show them how you can have by the time that you get 40, by the time you get 45, by the time you get 50, right? How we can be having debts paid off by next year, but you could be a millionaire at the age of 35. You could be a millionaire at the age of 40. You can have $4 million by the age 60. You can have $3 million by the age of 50. I'm gonna get ready to show the Less Win financial community that information in itself here, right? And so as we have the Less Win Financial Facebook page that's also watching us, as this is recorded, be also too on the YouTube page. What I do want to share with the Less Win financial community is this right here, right? Most of our community is composed of African
no, because there's
Americans,
no.
right? Most of us composed of African Americans. And guys, check this out. And Lawana, thank you for that. You guys continue to keep Kim encouraged because she's the one on Sundays, on the weekends, she shares pictures with me when she's at Publix. And she says, Sherwin, week two, Sherwin, week one. It's no getting ready for no spend Monday in itself here. But what I'm about to tell you guys here is some very important information that I want you to write down or at least stick in your head here, right? 60% of the wealth in this world right here that's inherited, right? 60% of the wealth is inherited. I want you to write that down. I want you to put it in your head. 60% of the wealth in the world that we have today is inherited. All right. 60% of the wealth is inherited. And what I want you guys to know that is 2% of that wealth is inherited by African Americans. The other 58% of the wealth that's inherited is from other cultures. But only 2% of the 60% of the wealth that's inherited is from African Americans. And it's the reason, guys, the reason why we only have 2% of the inheritance wealth is because guess what? We don't own nothing. We don't own nothing. We have everything, but we don't own nothing. We're gonna drive the Lexus, we're gonna drive the Mercedes, we're gonna drive the Cadillac trucks, right? We have that, but we don't own it. And so, as LaWanda say here, right, it's a very interesting stat here, right? I'm gonna say it again. 60% of the wealth in this world is inherited. Only 2% of it is inherited by African Americans. And so for us, I'll be transparent with you guys. Last Friday, we had the Ohio State football was playing in the college football quarterfinals, right? So guess where I went? I went to the Hard Rock Cafe here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I went with some of my friends. One of my good friends. I got three best friends. He is from Ohio. And he said, "Hey, Sherwin, man, let's go to the Hard Rock Cafe." And so we went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Fort Lauderdale. And man, it was an experience. I've only been there maybe three, four times. I don't gamble, but what we did was we went to a big old bar and they got TVs all over the place. And man, I was just kind of walking around into the Hard Rock Cafe. Again, I don't know how to gamble, so I just went for the experience. I seen so many people, man, sitting out smoking, drinking, gambling. And I thought to myself, man, what if all these people knew about maybe a Roth IRA account, or maybe if they knew about what their Roth IRA accounts, I mean, what their 401k accounts and what they can grow into over time, or maybe if the money that they spending now, if they could put it in their savings account, or I wonder if any of these people in here know about what Nvidia did over the last 4 years and the amount of money that they could have made on this, right? Or maybe if we think about a QQQ, which is 100 technology companies in one basket, or VOO, S&P 500 fund, right? Or realizing this money that they spend on this Hard Rock Cafe, right? They put it on a credit card to swipe. And guys, let me just say this right here. Here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, you can go right over here. I believe I see Angel. I believe Nikki is on here as well. Nikki Jackson. They're both from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And guys, here in Fort Lauderdale, the Hard Rock Hotel has a very good marketing campaign. Guys, they got a guitar as a hotel here at the Hard Rock, right? So you can go. It's a hotel, but it's designed like it's a hotel. It's designed like a guitar, and that thing open 365 days a week, 24/7. I asked one of the guys, "Hey man, this place ever closed?" He said, "No, we can't afford to close because they guess what they're doing? They're making money." But if you think about it, most of the people that was in there, and I just kind of did an observation, was most of them was African Americans, and they're gambling. They was gambling because they don't have the financial awareness. They don't have the financial security to know that, hey, look, you can go to work and you can actually put your dollars to work for you. And a lot of times we just in that rat race where we get into debt. And like what Kim talked about tonight, right? She's 25. And Kim, I'm getting ready to show you guys. I ran some numbers on Kim. So what happened here with Kim? So Kim came to me and said, "Hey, sure, when I have a certain amount of debt, I have a spending habit to where I'm spending a lot of money on just eating out." And basically, it was almost every day. And I said, "Kim, we got to change that trajectory though, because the amount of money that you're spending on eating out, we could change that. And if you save that money, you could put more money towards your debt and have these debts paid off." So in Kim example, let's say for instance, if Kim was spending $1,000 a month, or let's say for instance, even $1,400 a month eating out, And as you saw that Kim spend money on the weekends going to Publix and buying groceries, and instead of spending $1,400 a month eating out, let's say for instance that Kim spent $300 a month eating out and she saved $1,100 of that money from what she was eating out, and now she can apply that to some of her debts. We put a plan in place to where Kim can actually have her debts paid off by next year. And so if you think about it, if Kim had debts of where she was paying $1,000 a month on her particular credit cards, like I was sharing with some other Less Win financial members, right? One of your biggest pay raises that you can get and a guaranteed rate of return. I want you guys to remember this here. The greatest guaranteed rate of return that you can get is when you actually pay off your credit cards, right? Because if your credit cards is charging 21, 24, 25% on the interest rate and you can pay that down, that's a guaranteed rate of return because once you pay it down, you got to know that you're not paying Visa, you're not paying MasterCard any longer in itself. So that's very important. You only can do that is when you get the mindset to realize that, hey, look, I'm going to quit being a slave to MasterCard. I'm going to be quit being a slave to Visa. And when you quit being a slave, then that's where you have freedom. See, at the end of the day, guys, we still continue to be in slavery, but it's a credit card slavery. See, our ancestors don't believe, and they would be very upset if we were still being a master to MasterCard, still being a slave to Visa today. But we put ourselves in that situation because we want what we want. And like what Kim said, it's very hard because she get bored. She want to do things, right? And if it's not at her checking account, boom, she gonna go use that credit card. But this young lady right here, she said she was at the gym and she said, hey, look, I'm not gonna use that credit card. I'm gonna freeze the credit cards. How many of you guys think about that, right? Freezing your credit cards. Check this out. How many guys can go each month without using your credit cards? If your job, if it quit paying you in your next pay period, I want you to ask yourself, if your job did not pay you on your next pay period, how long could you go without having the next paycheck? How long could you go without having two paychecks? How long could you go without having three paychecks, right? And so that's the important piece here at Let's Win Financial, what I preach and I teach. And I tell you guys, the emergency fund is very important. We can put out a $2,500 savings challenge to where every week you take some money out from what you make and you put it towards that $2,500 savings challenge. Having an emergency fund is very important. And guess what, guys? We're in the prime mecca season of tax season where at the end of January, you should either receive a W 2 from your job, or if you're a business owner, you should receive a 1099. And you file your tax return. The tax return or the tax season starts January 27th, when you can now start filing your taxes on January 27th, and you can start, see what maybe if you get a refund. Spoke to a young lady the other day. She got 3 kids. She gonna get about $10,000 back. She got credit card debt. I say, sweetie, this $10,000 you're going to get back. We want to make sure that your future self will be able to thank you for what decisions that you made in 2025, because some decisions that you made in 2024, maybe 2023, it's easy to say I got $10,000 and now I want to go spend this money at Macy's. Now I want to go spend this money on my kids. Now I want to go take a trip. But if you take care of what you got to take care of and you stick to the plan, I promise you, if you stick to the plan, then your future self will thank you. Pay down that credit card debt. That's your responsibility. You need to do that. Because if not, guess what? Every decision that you make, you're paying 21, 22, 25% on every purchase that when you swipe that card, it's costing you your future self. And so tonight, guys, it's important for us to talk about testimonies, right? Kim provided her testimony. There was a gentleman about 3 years ago. He wrote me a check here, right? He's 85 years old, all right? I got this. Let me see if here. Let me see if I can put this right here. This is a check right here, right? That he just wrote me. All right. A check right here. This guy right here is 84 years old. So you're not too young, you're not too old. And he's in the panhandle. He said, Sherwin, man, I got $100,000 just sitting in this bank account, man, in this credit union. That ain't making me no money. And he said, man, I hear you the money, man. So his family recommended to me. Now, that's how the Let's Win financial community is able to grow, because it's word of mouth. That's people that's already in the community that's actually winning, that's actually referring their family, their friends, their coworkers, right? So this one guy, he's 84 in the panhandle. He said, "Hey, look, Sherwin, I got $100,000 and they ain't making no money." So guess what we did? We put him on a plan to where that money in that savings account is now paying him almost $800 a month, and he still got that $100,000 right there chilling, right? So that's what we do here at the Let's Win Financial Community, right? So for his annual services, right? He don't have his bank account linked to his account that we set up to him because he old school. So what he does, he go to the credit union. When we first took the $100,000, he went to the credit union. He went to his credit union where the $100,000 was at. He had a credit union. Him and I, we went online. He was on the phone with me because he don't have access to internet. I went online. I opened up the investment account, not the investment account, but it was the cash management account I'm telling you guys about, right? And we got into to the PIMCO Dynamic Income Fund, right? PDI. I set that all up for him online. So he went to his credit union. His credit union wired him the money or wired the money to the Fidelity account once I gave them instructions. So every month, guess what? Off the $100,000 he get about $830 a month. And guess what they do? Because he remember he don't have a bank account linked to his account. What Fidelity does, because if they do this as well, they mail him a check every single month. So around the first, around the fifth of every month, he get that $832. And before that, guys, he was making maybe $30, maybe $40 a month on $100,000 sitting at that credit union. But that's why it's important. I tell you guys that you're on this phone call tonight, you're in the right room and you're in the right circle. Because guess what? Wealth is being built all around you. If you didn't know about Nvidia in 2021, you missed out on a lot of money, but it's okay because it's going to tend to keep growing. There's some people on this phone call right here that made thousands of dollars on Nvidia. Matter of fact, a young lady in Tampa, Florida, she's a pharmacist, and she shared with me her accounts today. She has her own pharmacy business, right? She don't work for another pharmacist. She's a pharmacist, all right? She graduated from FAMU. She got her own practice. And so what happens? She have a daughter, and her daughter helped her in her business. So what she did was she opened up a Roth IRA account, minor account, because her daughter worked in a business. You can do that. She paid her daughter from her business. I talked about this here a little bit on social media pages here, right? So her daughter had a Roth IRA account, and her daughter maybe I think maybe 9, maybe 10. She also has a Roth IRA account. And man, I looked at their Nvidia and it was like maybe 35% of the accounts. And they've been in the Let's Win financial community well 4+ years. For me, what I saw, they made a bunch of money because you know what? They was in the right room and they was in the right circle. So let me share here with you guys here really quick, right? Money has two best friends. I want you guys to write this down. You hear me say this a lot, but I always like to regurgitate the information that I state because if you don't get it the first time, you can always get it the second time. So we talked about Kim testimony tonight, right? So Kim is less than 25. I don't want to give her age. She's less than 25. So Kim, two best friends is time and compound interest, right? So Kim is going to pay all her debts off next year, next December. So check this out. Here's what we did with Kim. So Kim was with Primerica. She had a Roth IRA at Primerica. Guys, if you have a Primerica investment account, I am going to highly recommend that you roll that over to Fidelity because they have some high fees with Primerica. They put you in these investment funds with high fees. Kim also had another Roth IRA account with Vanguard. So, and Vanguard's not a bad company, right? But I always believe having all your assets in one place. So when you log in, you'll be able to see all your assets in one place. Matter of fact, there's a young lady in I would say a little bit above Florida, right? Wealthy lady in the Let's Win financial community, probably one of the wealthiest members that we have in the Let's Win financial community, right? 100 over $150,000 with USAA just sitting there. With Navy Federal Credit, just sitting there, right? Making less than 1%. I said, why not we move this over to Fidelity to cash management account, get the 4% on that, right? You can make $500 a month easily on that versus making $30, making $70 a month. You make $500 a month for just no reason, right? Just you got a choice where you got bucket A, you got bucket B, right? But as I mentioned to you, Kim, Less than 25. Money has two best friends, time and compound interest, right? So we go right over here and we look at Kim here, right? So this is what we did for Kim. So Kim is a nurse, all right? Kim is a nurse, all right? And if we look at this in this example here, right? Kim has a Roth IRA account and Kim has a 401k account. So check this out. So if Kim here, right, if she got roughly say this amount right here, right? We're gonna highlight this right here. So in her Roth IRA account going into 2025, if she have about $3,200, right? And the first couple years, we're focusing on paying off debt, all right? But we're still gonna put about $50 a month into our Roth IRA account because we want to continue to keep feeding, right? Because we realize that it's gonna continue to keep growing. But the IRS says this right here, guys. The IRS says this right here. In this year, you can max out your Roth IRA at $7,000 in 2025. But because Kim is paying down debts, we're gonna focus on paying down the debts and put little as possible into the Roth IRA. But when we pay those debts off, now we're gonna focus on paying off. I mean, we're gonna focus on maxing out the Roth IRA. All right. Because when you go over here and you look at it, this is some information that ain't just coming out of my head. You see this right here? So the highlights right here, right? The limit contributions to an IRA is $7,000 here for 2025. So when we go back over here and we look at Kim, if she maxed out $7,000 per year, right? Starting in 2027 when she turned 27. Guys, when you continue to look at this right here, right? So Kim is under 25. Let's say for instance right here at 35. Kim could literally have right here. You're gonna look at this column right here. We focus on this here, the end of year balance here. Kim can literally have $116,000 here in her Roth IRA account. By the time that Kim turns 35 right here, because we focus on getting a 10% average annual rate of return right here. By the time that she turned 45, Kim can go right here and have 426,000. For the people that's on this call tonight, that's 45, you got to ask yourself, do you have $426,000? If you'd have met Les Wayne Financial, Sherwin 15 years ago, 20 years ago, yeah, you can have that. When Kim get right here at age 50 right here, right? Kim gonna have $733,000, guys, just in her Roth IRA account. And mind you, a Roth IRA is something that you have outside of your job. It don't even include your retirement program. We're gonna get into that in a minute. So when we go back and look at this, we talk about $733,000 just even outside the job, which is very important. So when we go back over here and we share this information right here, so at age 50 right here, right? At age 50, that we will see that Kim could have $733,000. But check this out, guys. If we go right over here and we highlight this right here, we highlight this right here. At age 53 right here, Kim now has $1 million. All right. By age 60 here, right? Kim has almost $2 million. And guess what? Kim, she can have and withdraw this money in this Roth IRA anytime that she wants. And that's what Kim, so Kim, what happened was she had another member that goes to my church in particular that recommended her over to me. So if that member from my church would have never recommended Kim over to me, she would never be on this financial plan that I'm about to put her on. I can go back into Excel spreadsheet, but for the sake of time, even on Kim 401k account, Kim works for a nonprofit organization, which is a hospital. That's a 403B. Kim is going to have another anywhere from 2.5 to $3 million just in that 403B account. So Kim, by the time that she get to 60, she can have about $5 million. Her first $1 million we saw is going to be at 53 just in that Roth IRA account. But when you add her 401k account, Kim at 45 is going to have $1 million just in those accounts. But because Kim decided not to spend money on Uber Eats, because Kim decided to freeze her credit cards, because Kim decided in 2025 that she's making a mindset change. See, here's what I'm telling you guys here, right about here, right? Where you at right about now in your life is based on decisions that you made 5 years ago. Your habits that you did 5 years ago, that's the reason why you're at now. Whether you're in a good financial state, whether you're in a medium financial state, whether you're in a bad financial state, right? It's because your habits that you made 5 years ago. And I'll be honest with you guys, guess what? Us as African Americans, I tell you this all the time. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. So guess what? We don't know about assets. All we know is how to go to that job and work a 9 to 5 and get a pay raise. And when we get that pay raise, our lifestyle increases. So when we get that pay raise, we feel like I deserve now. I need to go get that extra car that I wanted. I can go and say, okay, look, I'm gonna go and take that vacation right about now. But be careful though, guys. Here's the thing. So let's win financial community is changing a little bit. Because for me, what's happening is right in my landscape and how I'm changing is the fact that I got now a 20-year-old, sorry, 21-year-old young guy. All right. I have not announced this before, but I got a 21-year-old professional athlete, right? He's not professional. Let me not say professional. He's a college athlete. And if you realize the people, some of the men that's watching here, right? You watch college football. They call it something called an NIL deal. So this young man here, he's 21 years old at the campus where he's at now in Central America. I mean, mid America, Central America, right? He's getting paid this year $400,000. Imagine that if you're 21 and you getting paid $400,000 while you're in school to play football. And so I'm getting ready to meet with this young guy right here and his family next Wednesday, and we're getting ready to do what we call financial planning. And so he getting that 400,000 guys in 1 year. And next year, that bag gonna be bigger for him. And then who's to say the year after that he may go to the NFL and now he's getting paid millions of dollars. So what happens is, right, it don't matter how much you made. It's a matter about how much you multiply and how much you manage your money. Because if you make $200,000 a year, if you make $300,000 a year, but if you spend 99% of it, you spend 95% of it, right, on vacations, eating out, and all that bull crap, right? It don't mean nothing. All it means is that you're high income, right? Right? And so for this young guy, what's getting ready to happen is when he came to me, he said, hey, look, man, I'm not going to charge him a lot of money. We're going to charge him to help him because that's what's going to happen. My wife, she's a CPA, so she's going to be able to help him file his taxes. He's going to pay federal, he's going to pay state taxes on that. But what I look at as a business owner, right? And I'm encouraging you guys too, right? When you work your 9 to 5 job, we talked about this last week. We had a vending machine specialist come in 2025. I want you guys to focus on your 9 to 5. That's good. But also focus on your 5 to 9. When you get off work, what are you doing to actually increase your financial state? Because at the end of the day, I had a young lady tell me today, she started with me a long time ago. Sherwin, I'm looking for some extra income and my bills are more expensive. If you're not doing anything extra to make any additional income, you're going to continue to be in that struggle state. That's where I changed my life. And I was sharing with you guys on the WhatsApp app. In 2020, when the pandemic came, I was sitting at the crib just chilling. And I realized to say, you know what? I know what my passion is personal financial counseling. Started Let's Win Financial Community. And at the same time, I started Let's Win Real Estate, where I just started buying real estate. Those two businesses alone right there changed my financial state. Because guess what? At my job right about now, guys, you guys don't realize this about me. I do have a 9 to 5 job. I will go to work every day. Even I'm on a one-on-one call with you. I go to work every single day, Monday through Friday, right? I got a wife, I got 3 kids, I serve in ministry at my church, but I also have a 9 to 5 job. And there's a promotion at my job right about now where I can get promoted to the next level. Guess what, guys? I don't care about that promotion. I don't want to be promoted at my job no more. You know how I want to be promoted? I want to buy the next rental property. I want to continue to keep buying Tesla. I want to continue to keep buying Bitcoin because I know those particular assets are going to continue to keep going up. I want to continue to keep growing less when financial, not that it's going to continue to bring money to me because what you guys pay for me is peanuts. Think about it. What you pay me is peanuts. If you have a personal financial advisor that had on a suit and that did not look like me, it would cost you 5 times more than what you're paying me right about now. Because if I charge you too much right about now, I know that you would not be on this phone call right about now. And I know that I cannot change your financial trajectory. But I got people on this phone call right about now that have made $30,000 last year, that made $60,000 last year, that made $100,000 last year, that made $200,000 last year, and you're paying me peanuts. But guess what? I don't care about the peanuts. I care about how can I change your financial trajectory. And it's not changing your financial trajectory. It's how can we change your kids' financial trajectory. Because at the end of the day, guess what? If you around me, you're gonna have an investment account. If you're around me, your kid's gonna have an investment account. If you around me, we're gonna talk about saving money in an emergency fund, but that's only for emergency fund. Keep that money in that emergency fund just for that emergency, but you got to be able to put that money to work for you. Or you're gonna be in that same trajectory where we talked about 60% of the wealth in this world here is inherited. 60% of the wealth is inherited, but only 2% of that wealth is inherited by African Americans. See, we could be AKAs, we could be Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. I'm a part of that fraternity, right? We could be part of a Delta sorority, right? And it could look good because we got a job, but guess what? If you live in paycheck to paycheck, your status look good. But if you live in paycheck to paycheck, what good is it, right, to be on a status? And I'm being transparent, I'm being real right about now. I'm gonna get real. I might step on some toes. But at the end of the day, what are you doing in 2025 to say how can I be different in 2024? You can have a PhD degree, you can graduate from Harvard Medical School, you can graduate from Harvard law degree, right? But if you still live in paycheck to paycheck, what good is that? What good is that? What good is that? So you think about it, right? The young lady, man, in Montgomery, Alabama, she was able to change the mindset of when she sat on that bus, when she said that I'm not getting up. She made us change. She made that step, that concept, right? And you guys know what I'm talking about. In Montgomery, Alabama, she wasn't getting up. Because I encourage you guys, this right here, the changes that you make in life, right? The changes, right? The decisions that you make in life will ultimately determine your destination. And this ain't just about finances, it's just about your overall thing, your health right about now. If you feel like you need to lose weight, your choices that you make in life, right? When you sit and eat breakfast, when you see and when you sit down and eat lunch, when you sit down and eat dinner, right? If you eating all that fast food crap, right? That ain't really bringing no energy to your body, right? The choice that you make in life will ultimately determine your destination. Whatever you feed your mind on a daily basis, right? Whatever you telling yourself, right? And whatever the energy that you bring into your body, right? The choices that you make, the things that you do, will ultimately determine your destination, right? You continue to eat them cheeseburgers every day, you continue to eat out every day, you can continue to be fat. You can continue to be overweight. And you can continue to have diabetes. And then in the long term, you're not going to have a long standing life if you don't exercise, right? It's the same way. When you go to the gym and you start working out, right, you're not going to get physically fit just in the first 30 days, but you got to continue to be working at it time after time after time. It's the same with your financial state. And guess what, guys? Everybody on this call right about now, you ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. God knows I ain't perfect. I got skeletons that I don't want to tell nobody about. But you know what? I got a story, I got a testimony because I got it out the mud. I told you guys my story. I got it out the mud. The day Wednesday, and I'm sitting here in Missouri. I think about it every Friday. It haunt me. I have nightmares about it on a Wednesday, thinking that it's Friday, it's about to be payday. And if the payday ain't Friday, if payday next Friday, man, it felt like it's 3 months because I'm waiting on that next paycheck to come because I don't decisions that I made years or months ago, right? I'm in Missouri where I don't spend this money on this girl in Tallahassee, Florida that I fell in love with, just spending her money because I felt like I had it, traveling to see her, but at the same time struggling to pay my bills. And guys, to be transparent with you, I'm just tell you, when I put my numbers on social media, when I can say a $20,000 day, when I can say a $25,000 day that's been made, it's been days to where I don't use my company credit card, my company travel card to pay my bills, and being called in the office and saying, "Hey, what's this right here?" Years ago, but I got a story, I got a test, and I got a testimony to share that with you guys, right? Because the same struggle that you're going through, guess what? I've been there. And I still struggle, maybe not financially, but I still struggle with other things. And so I don't want you to think that, hey, look, the things that you're going through right about now, nobody else is going through. We all struggle, but it's all about how you manage those struggles and then how you overcome. How you overcome. Because Kim shared her story tonight. She's a young registered nurse. And Kim, I thank you again. And we're going to have more of these testimonies in the Let's Win Financial members tonight. But I want to be real. I want to be raw with you. Because at the end of the day, you got somebody that's been in the same situation where you may be at right about now that's been able to come to that particular situation. And it's very important for that, right? As we start this new year off, what are you doing right about now to change your trajectory? I look at Angel, I look at Rose, I look at Sherman, I look at Reverend Boykins, right? I look at my dad. I'm looking at Tiffany. I look at Cassandra. I'm looking at Kevin. I'm looking at Tony. I'm looking at Mr. Demetrius. I'm looking at Cassius, right? I'm looking at Dr. Jones, right? I'm looking at Miss Frida, right? Miss Frida, man, is a brand new member to Let's Win Financial Community. We had a vending machine webinar last week. Miss Frida said, guess what, Sherwin? You know, I missed out on the vending machine webinar last night. Guess what? Miss Frida on her own her business. Taking advantage of these opportunities. I'm looking at John, man. We grew up together in Madison, Florida, brother. His dad a minister, my dad a minister, right? We in this together, right? The people that's on the iPhones, I don't know who you are. I look at Nikki, right? I talked to Nikki just yesterday. Nikki grinding, a hustler. Not necessarily in a bad way, but she's very resourceful, right? Her and her sister. We grew up, together in small little live oak. I look at Jody, right? Jody is in the medical field as well. We talked about Kim tonight as a registered nurse. Guys, 2025 is the year of your breakthrough. 2025 is the year where you have overflow. 2025 is the year where you have of abundance, right? And that trajectory, what I talked about, overflow, abundance, and your particular breakthrough starts tonight and setting a plan and saying, okay, on Thursday, on January the 16th, I've made my plans to where I'm going to quit doing some of the things that I've done in the past that's going to help me to overcome in the future. Because guess what? You got to divorce your past and you got to marry your future. And if you set your goals and you know where you want to be at, you got to be able to marry your future and be able to take it to the next level. You understand that? I got my twin brother on the call right about here. That guy, man, always been determined in life and always knew where he wanted to go. And that boy, I tell you what, he started in middle school, going to an engineering firm every summer when we was out of school because he was determined he knew what he wanted. He would get on his bicycle, not wait till my parents took him to the engineering firm, but he would go to the engineering firm in a small hometown Florida and go and do understudy at a engineering firm and see how it worked. And today that Joker man works for a Fortune 500 company at Johnson Johnson as a senior engineer, not just a regular engineer, but a senior engineer. Because you know what? He had his mind made up. He was intentional. And that's where you got to be with your goals for 2025. You got to be intentional. I share with one of his other Let's Win Financial members that's on here when we talk about testimonies. I told her, I say, look, you got a passion. You develop websites. They waiting on you. Them clients waiting on you. Take advantage of it. Be intentional. Do what you God has gifted you to do. God has gifted each and every one of you with some type of gift. And guess what, guys? I'm walking in my passion. I'm walking in my gifting. I'm walking into being a public speaker, but I'm also gifting and walking into the passion of stewardship and financial stewardship because each one of you guys have been on this call here in some way, somehow, especially my new members, maybe not so much because you're fairly brand new, so you don't realize it just yet. But some of the older members can tell you you've learned some financial literacy. You learned some financial education, and God knows when you log into your investment accounts, you done made a bunch of money just on what God has gifted me and taught you and taught me through you. Because it ain't about me, it's about God speaking through me to be able to teach you and how to elevate and advance to the next level. And this ain't about you. This is about your next generation because with Let's Win Financial, if you go on my website and you look at our motto, the motto is right, is to create financial legacies for generations to come, not just for you, but for generations to come. So this means that I look at Mr. Demetrius on here. I'm gonna tell you about Mr. Demetrius for real quick. And all you done, make sure Miss Demetrius is still on here. Yeah, Mr. Demetrius on here. Miss Scott's still on here. I'm gonna call out Mr. Demetrius. When we talk about testimonies, I start working with her. She got a daughter that own a business, and her daughter didn't have a dollar saved for retirement. You know what Miss Demetrius did? She said, Cheryl, you know, my daughter probably don't understand nothing about this financial literacy information that you're teaching, and I ain't even talked to her daughter before. But what me and Miss Demetrius did, we set up a Roth IRA account for her daughter. And Miss Demetrius, God, I'm bless her, man. Retired military and everything. Miss Demetrius is gonna make sure that her daughter Roth IRA account is maxed out every single year at $7,000, and the daughter don't even realize it. That's what you talk about generational wealth building. Because if God bless your pockets and you able to bless your kids' pockets and you able to bless other people's pockets, right? And so not only is Miss Demetrius right blessing her daughter, but she also opened up an investment account for her granddaughter as well. That's what I'm telling you guys. If you round me, you're gonna open up an investment account, and the grandkids or your kids gonna have an investment account as well. Because me, I've been doing this for 13 years, 13 plus years. I know how it works. I understand how it works, right? And if you round me, we gonna do that. So I commend Miss Demetrius, man. I talk to her every time. I mean, she is just doing it. I got 3 guys around me every single weekend. They're gonna come around me this weekend. They're gonna come over here. One of them coming over here for some tax planning. My wife gonna help him with it. Another friend coming over. He just started a new job, and he rolling over his old 401k account, right, to a rollover IRA, and his wife have some old 401k accounts, and we're gonna roll that over to a rollover IRA, and they're gonna bring their kids over. And if it's warm enough, they're gonna get into the pool. And if it's warm enough, we're gonna fire that grill up. And guess what? We're gonna sit outside on that pool, by the pool outside of my house, right? That was bought by, guess what? Tesla, right? Funded by majority of us funded by Tesla in 2020 and 2021, because Tesla was a powerhouse, right? But that's what I'm talking about. You don't spend your money. You spend the money that you doing on your assets, and you allow your assets to pay for your lifestyle. Because if you round me and you're in the right room in the right circle, right, then you got to be elevated. If you in a room and you're in a circle where people are talking about other people, you're in the wrong room. If you in a circle where you realize like if somebody gossiping you about somebody else, you in the wrong circle. You're in the wrong room, because it ain't no elevation, ain't no growth. Because guess what? If they talking about somebody else, you don't heard this before. They talking about you too. They talking about you. I tell my wife that too, right? Be careful, babe. Inventory your circle. Because if you telling me about what somebody else told you, I don't want you around them, because they talking about us too. And I don't want to be the smartest man in the room. I want to be the point in the room where I can be elevated. I can continue to learn. So Kim, thank you tonight. We've been over an hour. I normally not like going out, but guys, I'm just kind of just pouring out tonight. We're gonna do more of these sessions tonight. Does anybody have any questions for me before we close out tonight? Any questions? It could be anything. Any questions before we close out? I know I went deep. Any questions? Any questions? All right. So guys, this has been good. As always, be well, be blessed, and as always, let's continue to win. All right, guys. Love you.